Shalom, giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bracha HaKodash. Double honors into the elder high priest that taught my elder apostles. Double honors into my elder apostles and elder bishops at Great Millstone, GMS. All right. Peace and blessings unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Atazaria from the Great Millstone, Houston, and Lord willing, this lesson will be edifying. Okay, this is dealing with the housing market and how the dollar is weak, jobs are scarce, okay, and everybody's broke. All right, and what brought about this lesson, okay, through the spirit, I was speaking with a lady who's a notary signing agent, which my license expired maybe a year ago. I'm not really sure. I never did renew it, okay, because even at this point, even then, but so much more now at this point, I was speaking to her about, had she been doing any closings, for, people that are buying homes, people that are selling, okay, mortgage companies, equity being taken out, etc. They need a NSA, notary signing agent, to notarize the paperwork. Okay, they have to be, a notary. They have to be state approved. Okay, they have to pass a background check and whatnot, and they're to verify, the documentation, have the people sign off on whatever it is that they're doing with those transactions. Anyway, so like I said, I never renewed mine after it expired. And at this point, it would pretty much be useless based off of the conversation that I had with her. Okay. And as a matter of fact, well, let me not, I'll go there, but let me just say, from the conversation that she and I had, she was like, it's crickets. And I said, what do you mean? She was like, it's absolutely crickets. Like, there's no one buying. No one's selling, no one's buying. It's such a small percentage of home sales, and people, of course, if they're not selling, then obviously no one's buying. Okay, here it is, people there, and there are a lot of people who actually got into a mortgage. Okay, and then when you go into that word mortgage, it means death, right? Same word you get mortified from, mortician, mortuary, right? It means death. Okay, so when you sign a mortgage, okay, most people don't even know what the word mortgage means. Okay, but nonetheless, she was like, yeah, it's no point. She said, I hadn't had a sign in weeks. And then it got so bad, that these companies now, they're starting to do signings over the computer, and they hardly pay anything. It's like $5 a signing, because she had got to a point where she was doing like, maybe 2 signings every few hours, whatnot. So she was basically making, like, on a good day, 40 or 50 bucks, which, in actuality ain't nothing. Okay. But now, as she stated, it's crickets, meaning ain't nothing going on. Okay. For the most part. And that field is also saturated, but because everybody's trying to look for extra income, everybody's looking for, or like Jake like to say, a side hustle, okay, to make some extra scratch, because ain't nothing shaking, man. Okay, so matter of fact, before I go any further, let me bring out a scripture. Should come up 12 and nah. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes 12. Always behind the watermark. And I think it's what? Let me see. Is it 13? No, I'm tripping. Salakia. It's let me see. That's it right there. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 3. Bring this out. All right. In the day when the keepers of the house, these economists, shall tremble. Okay. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, right? Work, because they are few. You know, jobs are scarce. Okay. And the ones that are out there ain't paying shit. Not enough to live on. Everything's going up but wages. Okay, the dollar itself is weak as hell. That's why gold and silver is through the roof. Okay, gold is what, 5 racks, 5,000. I was watching Elder Apostle Tahar. He was like, yeah, never in my lifetime. Yeah, gold has never been at this high of a rate. It's never been this high, which is a key indicator, all right, of a failing currency. And in this case, the petrodollar, all right, has lost a lot of its purchasing power. That's why you need more of them to buy the same things that you used to be able to get, all right? The products hadn't really changed, Oh, well, these are the new trucks. These are the new F-150s. Yeah, okay. It's still just a vehicle at the end of the day. But the reason why houses cost so much, everything is so high, because they need more of those dollars to make up for what the things, the goods and services are still the same. Okay? It's just that the dollar is so much weaker, all right, that everybody's charging more for everything. Okay, a house that used to cost $150,000, okay, is now almost $500,000. Who can afford that? Especially with all the uncertainty, that there is. All right, people don't even know if they're gonna be able to even make it through the month. All right, make it to the next paycheck. All right, and because the grinding is ceasing. Okay, it says, because they are few, and those that look out of a windows be darkened, and the door shall be shut in the street. All right, the door shall be shut in the street when the sound of grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. And we always speak about that, about the daughters of music being brought low is another key indicator that we're at the end. All right, because the music of today is trash. Okay, I have music fatigue. All right, and I used to DJ. I just like, here's the point. I couldn't live without having music, man. So now at this point, it's basically, classical, and old stuff from like the 70s. And even with that, you can only listen to the same shit so much. It's to the point now I don't even hardly listening to music anymore. If you want to call it that. All right? Because it's that trash. All right? Everything's digital. It can be one guy in a computer and make a whole damn song. And don't get me started on that AI crap. But I don't give any juice to AI videos, to AI music, anything dealing with AI and entertainment. I don't give no juice to it. Okay? It's trash. And I believe that was Elder Apostle Gabor had said, yeah, when you listen to these AI songs, man, you can clearly tell there's no soul in it. It's empty because it's computer generated. And for the most part, all of these AI songs, yeah, some of them, that's cute and funny, but at the end of the day, it's stupid, So when I say cute and funny, I'm really being sarcastic, The music is trash. But nonetheless, I want to go back speaking about this, all right? And I'm going to read this. Okay, for the notary signing agent, the NSA is a specialized notary trained to facilitate mortgage and loan closings. Right. Somebody's getting a loan. They have to get the documentation notarized. You go to the notary does that. Okay. And she said that she hadn't been getting any hits, no emails. And typically, even after I stopped, I kept getting emails. There's a closing in your area. Are you interested? Da 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 da. But like I said, at this point, I was already working doing something else, which had all of my time occupied outside of this truth. So I never really got into it like that. And then as we were speaking, she was like, yeah, it's no point, now, because nothing's selling and no one's buying. Okay? And again, that goes back to a weak economy. Then the houses are high as giraffe heads, right? Interest rates and all this, that, and the third. And, one of the last things she spoke before we got off the phone was you'd have to be a damn fool to get into a mortgage now. And then even like with that, Trump had made the announcement, instead of a 30-year, go to a 50-year. First of all, okay, think about that. 50 years, which is a lifetime. Most people aren't even ready to make a purchase like that, a home, right? Until they're like 30 plus. Okay? Unless you really successful and really making a lot of cheese. But even with that, man, let's say you're making 100,000 and maybe your spouse is making let's say 50,000 a year. Okay, you're making 100,000, which is 10,000, not 10,000, but about $8,000 a month. Maybe 72, somewhere in there. I'm trying to crunch the numbers in my head. Okay, because I know 7,500 a month. That was like $96,000. So let's just say you're bringing home $7,000 a month. You'd still be a damn fool to get into a mortgage. Because not only are you going to be paying on that house for the rest of your life, right? Who's to say your job is going to be there next month, next week, tomorrow, And then it can become, you can become trapped in that. And if, your house, you lose your home, your credit is shot. Okay? And it's all downhill from there. Okay? So all that to say that things ain't getting better. All right? I had a thought in my mind, but it kind of slipped out, but that's okay. If the spirit say the same, it'll come back. Matter of fact, give me 1 second. Man, I was trying to think what it was I was about to say, but that's okay. I can't remember. That's okay, though. But anyway, just to bring it on back. No one's buying, no one's selling. Okay? Because, again, that's what I was going to say. Or still pertaining to a 50-year mortgage. Okay? Again, you won't even, most people aren't even in a position to purchase a home until a certain age, which is like 30 plus, right? Sometimes younger, but again, let's say you're making that kind of cheese a year. Okay, that's $160,000. The house itself, let's just go on the low end and say the house is $275,000. Okay? And $275,000 ain't getting you much in the housing market these days. Okay? We in order to live in a decent home, in a decent community, okay, we looking at 300 plus, all right? And that ain't no grand, humongous home, which you'd be crazy to get that in as well. Because the bigger the house, the more maintenance, which a lot of people don't factor in. Because they trying to keep up with the Joneses. Here it is, you got a 4-bedroom home, don't know how to work on the house. Something go wrong. Let's say the roof springs a leak. Can you fix a roof? Most people can't. They wouldn't even know where to start. So now we got to call somebody to come fix the roof. What if the hot water heater goes out? Got to get another hot water heater. They're not cheap. Lord forbid the AC go out and you have to replace that. You're talking about it's so bad now with the AC units that people actually have to set up payment plans like a car in order to pay for their AC and heating in their homes. Okay, because the price of everything is skyrocketed. Yeah, we bought our house back in 2001. And we paid $200,000. Now our house is worth $650,000. Woohoo! Okay, who's gonna buy it? Right? Who's gonna buy it? People out here trying to find side hustles and things like that, which all them side hustles it's all saturated, man. Okay? It's all downhill from here, in other words. Okay? Let me read a little more of this, all right, because I think the point has been made. All right. It says a notary ensures documents, they verify the signer or the signer's identities, right? The people that's doing the business, and you're there as a witness. All right. Ensuring documents and properly signed, initiated, or initialed, right? Initial, because you got to give them the initial and all that good stuff. Anyway, in returning the complete packages, they act as an independent contractor, often traveling to meet borrowers, right? Because people borrow out of their home, out of the equity of their home, escrow and all of that type of shit, They're not even doing that. You see, all of that is slowed to a snail's pace, which is a sign that the economy is failing. It's a sign that the dollar is devalued. Because again, as I mentioned, gold and silver is through the roof. Okay? And that's one of the things we spoke about as well. She's like, it's just nothing's happening. There's no business. And I just can't even believe how high silver and gold is. And I'm like, yeah, it tends to do that when the dollar's value drops. So then you have to compare. Now you look and see what the price of gold and silver is compared to what it was 5 years ago. That shows you how much weaker the petrodollar is, man. Okay? And all this is, again, is just another sign that this place is finished. Okay? And all hell is breaking loose. All right? And everybody's broke. People are living on credit, living from check to check. People are shacking up because they can't afford to live on their own. Anyway, that's pretty much it, man. I just wanted to speak on that because we were just talking, on my way home. And she was like, oh my goodness, it's nothing happening. Because that was like her side money, which she's always trying to figure out a way. Let me invest in this and let me do this and it. And everything, nothing's working. Nothing is working. Okay? Things are failing left and right. Okay? That's because we're at the end of this thing. Okay? And it's only going to get worse. We keep saying the same thing over and over. All right? Lord willing, this was edifying. Just another thing something I wanted to touch on in the spirit. When she said that, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a little quick lesson on that when I get home. So, Lord willing, again, it was edifying. And with that, I'm going to say, shalom, on to the next.